He says that every government borrows, and NDC we also borrowed. And so, blah, 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 some of the debts they are paying, we bequeathed it to them and all that. You see, if you talk like this, you make a more... Doc, which government took office and did not borrow? From Nkrumah till now. Is there any government in the world where doesn't borrow? Yes. So the point is, President Kufuor borrowed and serviced his debts, including the debts he inherited from President Rawlings. President Mills borrowed and serviced Ghana's debts, including the debts which were bequeathed to him by President Kufuor. President Mahama did same. Now, none of them, of course, President Mahama also borrowed and serviced the debts that were bequeathed to him. Did we default? Did we default under President Mahama?
We serviced debts between 2013 and 2016, didn't you?
Did. No, in fact, we didn't only service the debts.
Video I play here of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta in 2015, speaking about our debt profile and the little fiscal space we have, and how interest payments of 10 billion
was unacceptable.
And was killing us. That was the interview with Brian Gamfu.
We didn't only service the debt President Mahama's government contracted. We even serviced the debts that we inherited. I've spoken about the sinking fund. What is your understanding of sinking fund? That is a fund with receipts meant to retire old debts. And so I told you that in 2015 we contracted an Eurobond of $750 million. We took $250 million out of that and placed it in the sinking fund to repay the first Eurobond of $750 million President Kufuor's government contracted. You didn't hear me say that. Even the legacy debts in the energy sector, President Mahama's government dealt with it by introducing ESLA. These were debts that we had accumulated in the energy sector over decades. That is what responsible governments do. And yet, in spite of all these things we did, which we achieved with zero financing from the central bank, meaning that the central bank did not print one Ghana cedi for the NDC to do all these things and the massive infrastructure projects we embarked upon. We bequeathed to you, or we left a sustainable debt.
Wow.
Where debt to GDP was 55.9%. Which you are now saying it will take you 6 years to achieve. Don't you listen to yourselves when you speak? The debt level President Mahama bequeathed to you, which is debt to GDP of 56%, is what you are hoping to achieve. It is now your medium-term target. The president's address to the country, he said by 2028, that is when they are projecting we would have recorded a debt to GDP of 55%. Meaning that you have taken Ghana back more than 6 to 10 years and destroyed all the gains we had made. That is the point we are making here. We took over a debt stock of 120 billion in 2009. We bequeathed to you a debt stock of 120 billion in 2016. As we speak, it is not 450 billion, as you say. It is 500 billion because as of September 2022, the debt stock was 464 billion, according to the central bank. And if you add the debt we have accumulated for the last quarter, you are heading to 500 billion. That is even taking out contingent liabilities like the ESLA debt, the Dache debt, which the IMF insists must be added to the public debt, as we in the NDC have always maintained. And so you are the people who have supervised an unsustainable debt crisis for the country. Kufuor didn't do that. Rawlings didn't do that. John Mahama didn't do that. Mills didn't do that. Even the military juntas we have had never did that. And the reason why you are here is not because you borrowed to pay debt. It is because you borrowed recklessly, because you were profiting from those borrowings. Ken Ofori-Atta and Charles Adubuayin, through their companies, Data Bank and Black Star Brokerage respectively, were making millions of cedis in transaction advisor fees anytime they went on the bond market to borrow. You see, when we're in office, it's not as though we could not have borrowed recklessly like they did. Though. You know that the $750 million Eurobond in 2015 that I keep on referring to, it was actually oversubscribed by almost 100%. We got about $1.3 billion. We're going into an election year. Yet the then finance minister said, Tekpe and the visionary John Mahama said, look, even though we want to win power and we need money to do many things, we will constrain ourselves. We won't take all the 1.3 billion. We will take $750 million. Because if we take huge debts, accumulate huge debts, repayment may be a problem. You came 1 year after that, 2017. You moved that from $750 million to the Templeton bond, 2.25 billion cedis. And then thereafter, you began to do averagely $2 to $3 billion per annum. When we were doing 1 billion maximum, $750 million. Okay. And the monies you borrowed, you wasted on consumption. Well, needless ventures that cannot even repay the loans.
Randy, and
you are here talking. Look, again, he says that.
Sammy, wrap up for me.
No, I'll be wrapping up. Again, he says that I'm painting a gloomy picture. Look, the president has come out to say that we are insolvent. We cannot service our debt. What can be more gloomy than that? And then he says that I'm saying Menzgold is better than this guy.
You said so?
Of course. They are better.
But they are all over.
The financial... No, please. The financial companies that... Can you allow me to make my point? The financial companies that you shut down, what was the reason? You shut them down because they were unable to meet their obligations. They were unable to pay their depositors. Today, you can't pay your creditors. Are you better than them? Are you better than them? And I'm saying that you have had far more brighter opportunities than many of these financial institutions. That if they had that, they would not have been in the situation they found themselves in, for which reason you collapsed them. Okay. So please, have some decency, humility, sensitivity, and show empathy. This cheap equalization you want to engage in. If you are a holder of a government bond, and you stand the risk of losing your lifetime savings and your hard-earned monies, you will not be speaking the way you're speaking.
All right.
So please, sometimes you guys should have some
dignity. You see, it is important. Once again, if it's about who shows empathy, and if it's about who has actually spoken, okay, to the plight of Ghanaian this morning on this show, okay, I am on record to have done that. To the extent that you are calling me a social commentator and not even
I didn't call you. I'm saying you are not a social commentator.
Sammy, I've been very quiet when you're talking.
But don't misquote me.
Sammy. To the extent that you describe me as a social commentator, okay,
Dog, did I do that?
I'm here for a party and government. I'm not here for, okay, such. You see, Randy, like I say, we keep saying to ourselves that we accept the situation where we are. We keep saying that yes, times are really difficult. Nobody is saying that, look, all is rosy. But you see, when you create an impression that, look, what did this government do? For 6 years, going to 7 years, what have we done? We've done nothing. I think it's unfortunate. I have always said that brick and mortar development or infrastructure development, any government that comes to power does it. To the extent that John Dramani Mahama even said that it was an exercise in mediocrity for you to say you have built schools, you have built roads and all that. But all government that come to power does it. But of course, what I want to make also a point here is that no government spends money just because I'm in government, and for that matter, I can dip my hands into the coffers of this country and then spend it anyhow. It comes through appropriation. And those appropriations will have to come from Parliament. Parliament will indicate to you where to spend, where not to spend. And no government even has the right to even go and contract a loan without inclusion of Parliament. Our constitution is designed, it's clear. You are a lawyer, you know that. But I'm saying that if you sit here and it suits you for you to say that the government of the day has done nothing, when in fact, if we are going to make comparisons today in terms of policies that of course has inured to the benefit of the masses, your government comes nowhere near the MPP. Nowhere near. What is, listen,
you can't service your debt.
There is nothing bigger than developing the human capital of this country. Nothing bigger. You can go and build the skyscrapers, do whatever airports, do the terminal trace and whatever, but there is nothing bigger than looking into the future and say, let me build the human capital of this country. You know how much is going into education? You know how much we've used to develop the young ones of today? You know how much is going into health sector?
Are you referring to free SHS?
Obviously, yes.
So that will pay for our debts.
It's not.
I'm saying, is that what you mean by development of
yes,
human
I refer to it as such.
Okay, all right.
I do.
So that is because if the loans to contract.
No, that's not just that. But I'm saying that there's nothing bigger than thinking better and thinking with oil revenue. Develop the human capital.
No, not oil revenue.
Now, you're asking what is with oil revenue. And I'm saying, no, I'm saying that we've done a lot. But yet you can sit down and say that, well, because of politics, I have said nothing. Okay? But when it suits you, you come and sit and say, we have done atomic gas. We cannot say that we have done interchanges. We cannot say that we have constructed roads. We cannot say that we've been able to have electricity expanded. We cannot say that. But I think at the end of the day, this government for 6 years has actually embarked on massive development as well. So we didn't just take the money and then decide how to really spend it. We took the money and ensured that the money is invested in some form of developments here, including proper policies that we have done. I have always maintained that if you think that free SHS is not a good policy, give me your option, what you did when you came. Tell me what you did in education. If you think that under health, when you took us to IMF, that public services that were halted, we could not employ, that when we came back, we took Ghana out of IMF, till today we are going back to IMF. Ask me, after we took Ghana out of IMF, were we able to open the space to have people employed or not? We did.
And what's happening now?
The same is happening.
The same is not happening.
The argument now is
the same is not happening.
What brings to fore
what is
the argument
west,
of we now agreeing that look, we cannot be going in cycles.
We are not going.
That's what I'm saying.
We are not going in cycles.
We are.
No, we are not.
If we look, listen, we went against the NDC doc.
We are not. In
For
the
going
Fourth
to
Republic,
IMF and for accepting the conditions.
In the Fourth
Yes.
Republic, for all the times that we've been to the IMF,
Yeah.
we have never, ever been to the IMF in such shape or form.
Default.
This is unprecedented.
Doc.
No,
Continue to speak grammar.
I mean, some
people are looking for their money.
It is not true.
And threatening suicide. You
I
are
am
just
in
speaking
this
grammar.
Fourth Republic,
And
we
just
have
lying
never
to your
ever.
teeth.
What is the shape in form now? What is the shape?
You are
now?
defaulted.
Is that not what we are discussing?
What actually pushed us to the IMF? Is it not because of physical challenges?
It's not fiscal
What
challenge.
pushed them to IMF?
What?
It is.
It's not.
My brother.
Please. Don't talk about what you don't know. Don't talk about what you know.
I'm saying that for every program we've gone to at the IMF,
Yes.
we have seen the consequences or ramifications or repercussions of that program.
Absolutely.
And we can deal with those things issue by issue. That's why I give you the analogy of the court. What we are facing today is unprecedented. People didn't start buying government bonds. Chief, people didn't start buying government bonds the last 6 years.
No, they did not.
People didn't start buying government bonds the last 6 years. When have you heard anybody who's bought government bonds being told that you cannot have your money, that you have zero interest, that for 2 to 3 years you get 5% of your money, that your principal will be paid to you over a 10-year or 12-year or 15-year
But Randy, is it voluntary or is not voluntary?
But
if you don't sign up, what is the
what
flip?
are they saying?
If you don't sign up, what happens?
What's the flip?
They are saying that you won't get your money.
There's no money to be
That is
given
what the
to
finance
you.
minister
I
has
am
said.
saying, but is it voluntary or not?
Look at the way you are sweating in this air condition. Anyway, because you have chosen to defend the indefensible.
You know